That is why we need Eddie Van Halen.
And that is why we need a triumphant video. Excellent!
So before we get into the build real quick, the reason why I'm doing this, one, I wanted to do the black and white one because I did make his Frankenstrat, the original Frankenstrat, which it's kind of weird because the black and white one was before that, so technically that's the original. It's confusing. Anyways, so I did that one about a year ago. So this is the guitar. Jesus, man. This guitar I made out of a Squire. It was a Squire. Didn't have a tremolo system on it, so I had to route that thing in the back for the Floyd Rose. Pretty proud of this thing, man. Like, it was my first actual replica built that I made, and it was a lot of fun. I did put a one of those cheap off-brand license by Floyd Rose. Floyd Roses or floating systems, because I wasn't too sure if this thing was gonna come out right. This guitar I basically just painted it. I wound my own pickup. I put the two things in here. At the time I didn't know how to do any wood fill or anything, so I would have capped this off and then the single humbucker, ratted that out. Basically what I'm going to show you guys is how to make the black and white one, which is probably not as hard as this one. There's not that many layers. So with that, let's get to the workbench and I'm going to show you guys step by step, or I'm going to try to show you guys step by step of how I'm going to make it. It of course is a guitar. I would say try to get a Strat body if you're really trying to go for that look, but you could do this to any guitar you want. This guitar is a guitar that one of my cousins gave to me. It was it was just gonna be thrown out, so he decided just to give it to me, and I had it for a while, and I was trying to think of what ideas I can do with it, and it just came to me. I'm gonna do Eddie Van Halen's black and white guitar, and of course I'm not gonna have a maple fretboard, and I prefer rosewood anyway, so it is a maple neck, so it kind of works for me. So what we're gonna do is just strip this all down. This guitar is pretty beat, so I'm gonna get into the prep stages. I'm gonna show you the materials that I'm gonna use for this build. So of course you're gonna need the body. You need a black single humbucker pickguard for the Strat. Now this one I got off of Amazon. It's nothing super crazy or fancy, but it's gonna work for this. Put a link in the description below of if you guys are interested in trying to get this one. Some paint. So I'm gonna be using Rust-Oleum paint. The reason why I'm using this is because I've used this in the past. I actually used this, not this specific color, but this brand for the James Hetfield Snakebite tribute guitar that I made. But yeah, it works fine, honestly. So I didn't want to use my compressor and the gun because if somebody wants to do this at home, this is very easy to get. So you can get this at any hardware store. So that's the paint. I'm also going to be clearing this with matte clear, just because I like how matte clear looks and feels. I didn't want to do the whole gloss thing just because, fingerprints and all that stuff. So this thing works perfect, man. If you guys want to use clear coat and, go through the buffing and sanding and all that stuff, and you guys can obviously do that, but I'm going to be using this on this build. This is a sandpaper that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using this on my orbital Xander for taking off the paint, because I am going to take off I'm going to strip it down to the bare bones. So I'm going to be using this because it's got and this one is pretty cool because it's got 80 grit, 150, 220, so it's got everything in here, all you need. And I got two just in case. So, and this stuff is pretty cheap. I'll put the link in the description below. And of course you're gonna need masking tape. And on the guitar there's very thin ones, but the way I've done it in the past, it's just I'll just use an X-Acto knife and just cut right, try to get a straight line and just cut it as thin as possible. I'm gonna need some wood filler because that guitar has a couple of dings and dents and stuff. So I'm gonna and plus also for the holes, right? That's pretty important. The holes that are on this pickguard might not match the holes that are on the guitar. So you might as well, just for safety, just do that and put some wood filler in there just to patch it up. And so you could just make new holes for these. I also got this at Home Depot. I saw this today and I was like, let me try it out. I'm gonna be using this for like the beveled edges and stuff like that, because, you know, I usually do it with the sandpaper and just like go with it. But that, from the paint from the start all the way to like the bare of it, it takes an eternity. So I'm gonna see if this works out. If it doesn't, then I'll obviously let you guys know. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for the materials. And sand this down, like I said, from 80 to 150 to 220. Sorry about the echo, it's like pretty echoey down here. So let's get started on this. All right, so here we have the guitar fully sanded. There's a knot back here. It's funny, but oh yeah, I actually use this thing. It's pretty cool, but it does get a little bit like out of control. So just be careful with that right there. I guess from here on out, I'm just gonna use my hands to do this. I just wanted to get that thick paint off. But yeah, let's go down to 220. And we all know how much we love sanding. Oh yeah, that's my blood right there. I like to stamp it. I like to stamp my guitar. First coat. Now this is a paint and primer, so I'm not gonna prime this. I'm just gonna spray this and give it a couple coats. Should work just fine. Well, I ran into my first problem here. Oh shit, it's spraying out now. Yeah. This can is a dud. I just bought this again. All right, so I gave it 3 coats of primer. So basically what happened was the nozzle on this can decided to act up on me. So the whole can is fine. Everything happens for a reason, man, because I was not gonna prime this thing. I was gonna leave it like that and just do the black. And I think that shit said, nope, stopped right on its tracks. Just like my snake bite, I had a little issue, had to fix it. And so yeah, primer's ready. Now we're gonna put in the first coat, second coat, let it dry overnight. One light coat and 2 heavy coats. So that should be ready hopefully by tomorrow or in 48 hours. And we're just gonna let that sit. All right, I have the guitar painted, fully painted. So now we're gonna get started on the stripes. I'm gonna be using, you know, this kind of tape because it's like not too thick, not too thin. I'm using gloves because I have sweaty hands and I don't want to get fingerprints on this. And now for those little thin lines, I was gonna use this and just like cut it, but my wife suggested I use like one of these. I think these are called wishy or washi or something, some kind of tape that she uses for like, she does like a lot of like arts and crafts stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna be using this stuff to like get those little really thin lines. Something I do suggest is using like a picture for reference. Like you can watch videos, like they got like videos where they like close up and like on the side, which I'm gonna do back and forth. But you know, if you guys can get like a good picture. after putting this tape around this thing, it was a bit harder than I thought. I forgot how tedious it is, because when I did the Frankenstrat, the regular Frankenstrat, and that one has way more details into it, but when I did that one, I forgot how hard it was. But the corners, right? So like to connect, so the way I did this is like I looked at the front and I just put it first, because I'm telling you, you guys go to do this and you go around it, you go here, it's gonna go somewhere else, tape. Like you put this here, you're gonna see the tape running this way, and then over here the tape's gonna run that way. So what I suggest you doing is first, you know, going this way, and when you start coming around, what I did, I was like, I cut it and I tried to like turn it a little, and I spliced like another piece of tape like going that way. So it's like there's like basically like 3 pieces of tape here. So it's like you got the first one, you got the side one, and you got, you know, whatever comes back around this way. So it's pretty tedious going around the whole thing. So it's like here too, you know, coming from this way, from this side, going up around. So yeah, I got the first big stripes, if you want to put it that way, big stripes. And now I'm gonna get started on the little detail ones, like the little thin ones, and then, you know, that little extra stuff that he has on his. All right, so after a long and annoying process of doing this is as close as I could get to it. It's not gonna be perfect, but I'm guessing this is what it's gonna look like. Now again, with the little one, this tape kind of sucked, honestly. It doesn't stick too well. Same thing with the turning and, like, you know, the around the edges here, especially on these right here. It was pretty hard, so I had to like kind of like, you know, do the same thing I did for the thick one, and just like kind of like splice it and hopefully hope for the best. Now I am a little bit afraid that it's gonna bleed, but I'm hoping, you know, this tape doesn't screw me over, because I'm gonna be pretty upset. But I can only hope for the best here. So let's paint this thing.
Who are you?
And so like with the headstock, I kind of went with like the same procedures I went with the body. So, you know, taped it off like that, just random it, just to have like a matching headstock. So, you know, why not, right? All right, so like I said, I knew this was gonna happen right here. I knew that I was gonna have some bleed there. But, you know what, for what it is, I don't mind it, just because it's a build that I made. And what I would recommend you guys doing is obviously get better tape that's like that thin. But if you guys use it, because like here in the back, it wasn't as bad. Like, sure, it's like make sure you prep this right, because that's one thing I rushed, didn't prep it so right. So, you know, I got some bleed in a couple areas. So prep it right. Now I'm not gonna like redo this whole thing, just because if you guys are really anal about it, you know, I would say like tape it down, like secure, like, or just use better tape, you know, like find like really good quality tape and use it. Because here I might just touch it up a little bit. You know, it's not really a big deal, but, you know, I would just say really prep it right, you know? So yeah, now we're just gonna get started on that pick guard. So no pick guard?
What do you mean no Pickguard?
Are you gonna make my pick guard?
I'm kind of busy.
Oh!
I'm sorry.
What I had to basically do here is just like, with my Dremel, I kind of went a little bit in here because this was a little bit too high up, because this is obviously like a knockoff, so whatever. So I did that a little bit, and like I said earlier, the reason why I patched up those holes, so these can just have new holes now. Pickup that I'm gonna use, I was gonna wind my own pickup like I did with the other Frankenstrat. I got this pickup from Alberto's Music Center, so if you guys are around the area in New York, Queens, check him out because he's got some awesome stuff there. And man, he literally had exactly what I needed. He had this EVH pickup that came out of a EVH guitar, obviously, but I don't know if it was a Wolfgang or what it was, but perfect, just what I needed. Be a simple, just 2 wire soldering onto this, 1 volume. That's all it is. I'm using a 500K pot, Seymour Duncan pot there. And simple, it's just one thing and that's it. And oh yeah, this guitar has a tone knob on it. It's already looking nice so far. Now the bridge that came with this was pretty not so good to work with, so I have a box of bridges here. Jesus, man. It's not a Floyd Rose guitar, so, you know, a Floyd Rose is not gonna fit in here. I was gonna try to, like, you know, put a Floyd Rose on this, but I'd rather just save the headache instead of just going through all that. And the right whammy bar for this. And I just found this laying around. I've got a bunch of just parts just everywhere, just laying around. Oh yeah. And you see how, well, I mean, they're already covered anyways, but this right here is a perfect thing to do, because now I can just go in with my with the Dremel or a drill or anything and just, you know, punch out the holes that I need, because it's just wherever it needs to be now. So yeah, that looks pretty nice right there. So let's drill those holes out and put the neck on. That we just string it up and it's already done. Oh, actually I forgot the strap buttons. So I'm gonna see what I can find, because I have the little, I forgot what they're called, but I have a bunch of those when I was building my home gym, and just put them in there. I think they're a little too big, but it's gonna work fine. Here's the headstock. It's not as pretty as I wanted it to be, but you know what, it works. Put some Grover tuners on this thing. That's all I had laying around. And oh yeah, and I give it a little stinger back here. Like it's 5150, it's Kramer 5150. But yeah, that's what I got now. Just gonna put the neck back on and we're gonna string it up and see what this thing sounds like.
Van Halen.
Wow, Van Halen, who else?
Here's the guitar, and I just want to apologize in advance because I'm not like the best guitar player out there, so I probably butchered the whole entire song that I tried doing, or I'll probably get copyrighted or something. But anyways, you know, it came out a little better than I thought, to be honest. You know, I thought it was gonna come out pretty messed up. But, you know, I did touch up the lines that I saw. You know, it wasn't too bad. And again, you know, it's not a maple fretboard. It's a rosewood, and that's something I prefer. But, you know, I mean, actually, if I had a maple neck, I would have put it on this, but this is all I had. And, you know, the stinger thing back there, I decided to just do that randomly. But, yeah, man, I think it came out pretty good, and it sounds good, so I'm happy with this build. The entire reason is because Eddie Van Halen, he's such an iconic guitar player, but he's also an iconic person, you know, because he's influenced everybody. It doesn't matter what age. You know, you see these stripes, red, you know, even it could be any color. You know, you just see those stripes, you know it's Eddie Van Halen. It's something that's amazing, you know, because it could be something so small in your guitar playing that he's influenced us. And, you know, to be able to do this, man, like, yeah, sure, you can buy the guitar, you know, the Fender, and have, you know, the official replica. But to me personally, I feel like it's a lot more sentimental, or a lot more, there's more emotional value to it because, you know, one, yeah, you painted and you did it yourself. You know, the fact that we're listening to his music, the fact that we're playing his solos, and the fact that, you know, we see and we do things in you know, respect, and be able to do something like this just to carry on his legacy is something that I personally believe is just truly amazing, because the main reason why we've all started playing guitar in one point of our lives, you know, even though some of us don't even know it or think about it, is because of him. You know, he paved this for our guitar heroes. It could be anything from like tapping, pinch harmonics, dive bombs, you know, just random stuff that at the time nobody was doing, and it was just so crazy. So be able to do something like this, to me personally, is just like showing the respect and showing, you know, that his legacy is still alive, you know, even though he's not with us anymore. You know, these kind of projects, man, like doing especially EVH guitars like these, it's just truly amazing. One, he did it that same way. You know, he just grabbed tape, wrapped it around, and just spray painted it. You know, and it's like something that, you know, everybody can do. You know, so that's why I feel like, you know, these kind of builds, you know, they're awesome, and they're just super fun, man. Even though they get stressful, I'm not gonna lie. But the end product, you know, you're going to be satisfied because you're like, whoa, I want to pick up this guitar and start playing some Van Halen, you know? So with that, you know, oh, actually, I am going to be making a lot more replicas, like EVH guitars. So like his Bumblebee, I'm going to try to do his Shark guitar. There's a lot, you know, he's got so many guitars that I've got a lot of ideas. And if you guys are interested in that, you know, subscribe, and, you know, or just search it up, and hopefully I pop. But yeah, so with that, thank you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.